you guys? Are you ready? I was just going over, I wanted to add a couple new stretches. Well, actually not stretches. These are limbering, mobility movements for the hips. And I was just fooling around with them and I felt a really nice relief in my low back. We've had a lot of low back this week with, back day, number one, and glute day. And even Wednesday was a leg day. And all of those things, you know, they hammered the parts we were focusing on, but then they also challenged other areas. So this is called the wide leg pelvic series. So all you're going to do is tip your pelvis forward and backwards, okay? And what I noticed right there was strain. I don't know what it is really, but I just want to limber up that area and rock that pelvis back and forth, all right? Because we're gonna go into the bed series where we're really gonna work on mobility in each hip individually. So let's just loosen up here, and that is a pelvis forward and back. And then we're gonna tilt to the side. So you're gonna just drive your hip up and center, and other side and center, all right? And I think that once you've gone through this series of movements, then you can go back and put them together in ways that you find are good for your needs today. Like I like to go back to this one in between each of the pelvic tilts and the hip drops and the circles. So just back there. And then let's take it to a diagonal rotation over. So you're gonna drop that hip in and bring it back out and drop it in. And just from side to side again. It's kind of a transverse hip drop. And I'm feeling it inside and on this side as well. I'm going back to those rocks. Pelvic rocking forward and back. And the last one I'm going to do is great big circles. And right in there, I can start feeling the hamstrings pull. Yeah, hula hoop. And change directions. Got another one coming up. And it's called the wide leg hyperextension. We're just going to fold forward. All right, so feet a little bit wider than regular stance, but then you play with it and see what works for you, okay? And we're just gonna drop. You're going to tuck under, like we did in the wide leg pelvic series, and then fold forward, okay? So here you go. You wanna rotate that pelvis backwards, and then to bring ourselves up, we're gonna rotate it forward again, okay? Finish up, rotate it back, and come on down, feel those hamstrings. Shaky, and again, tuck it under, and follow that movement up. Good. And one more time, when we get to the bottom, we're gonna start some upper body rotations. While we're in this forward, flexed, forward, bent position, you're gonna put one hand on the floor, and you're gonna rotate up. Good. And then I'm gonna take that same hand and I'm gonna move it closer to the opposite foot and rotate. And come on back down. This is getting tight for me. And I'm gonna take it, try to get over to my toes and feet and rotate. Good. And then take it to the other side. In the center first and rotate it up. Crack and down. And then take that hand further away from the same foot, closer to the opposite foot, and rotate up, and then all the way over, if possible. Just see where you're at. Good. Now I'm just going to bend those knees and drop it, and then I'm going to extend back out, feeling that hamstring. trying to keep my hands on the floor. I couldn't have done this even 4 weeks ago. Hands flat on the floor. And drop. I'm going to give it a go with a little closer stance. This will be a little harder. Hands are still on the floor. Feeling good. Stretch upper body, upper back. And bend and extend. Good job. Ooh. And there you go. Let's just take it to that pelvic circle again and see how that affected your low back and change direction. And then we're going to start that glute series, okay? And that's the one where we come into a lying position, and you're going to test the internal rotation by dropping the knee in. So right here, I'm going to drop this whole leg, the knee in, and just see my mobility at this hip joint, okay? And we're going to work on the mobility of this hip joint, loosening it up, and that will help loosen up the hamstring, and then we'll take it a little bit further and stretch the hamstring. So on your side, we're stretching the leg that we just internally rotated, and you're just going to bend that knee in front and then rotate the heel up. So again, keeping in mind that the hip joint is rotating, limbering, loosening, waking up, and that's going to help release so that we can stretch this hamstring optimally, okay? Up, rotate, and then this time is where we extend that leg out, so we're going to bring it up into that rotated position and then press out. And I feel that on my other side. Good. There we go. And then bring it back in, reset, and really funny. Out. And you don't have to like overdo it. Again, like I was saying yesterday about our exercises, you know, you want to push yourself a little bit each time you come back to these stretches, but it's not a forceful. Rotate up last time. Then we're going to take it onto the other side. We'll be using the same leg, right? Good. And I'm going to use my stretch strap. You may or may not need it. So, you're almost facing down a little bit because this leg is out front. And we're doing that same hip rotation, but we're just hitting it from a different angle. Lift and lower. Heel up and down, and then the knee up and down. I'm getting a lot more range on this one. You just kind of gotta really seek the improvements that you're making with these kind of stretches and mobility work. And then I'm gonna bring that knee up, and I wanna just drive it forward from the hip, as if I'm just trying to dislocate my hip from its socket and press back. There. So that hip joint should be nice and tuned up, and we're going to take it into a hamstring stretch. So this is where we grasp behind the knee and straighten it out as best as possible. If you're not straight, don't worry about it. Just assume as you continue your stretch practice, you will get more limber, more flexible. So what I want to do is add the tension. I want to push into my hands, contracting that muscle group. Ooh, again. And then pull it in closer to me. Point, flex, roll and rotate. Nice. And then reset. Grasp, contract by pushing, and pull it in closer. Point, flex, roll and rotate. One more time for a reposition if it feels good for you. And then, whoa, I'm going to drop that foot in front. So here, I'm going to create a fixed position here, and I'm going to stretch my body away from that fixed position by straightening it. Whoa. And bend. Straighten. And bend. This is where you could use the stretch strap. If you don't have the flexibility for this length of a fixed position, you could take it further away from you with a strap, right? Try it. Straighten. Should not be pain. Discomfort, probably, right? Now this time I am going to add the rotation. My upper body is going to rotate away from that fully lengthened muscle group, hamstring, all right? Straighten it out, hand on your chest, keep it there, don't let it slide off, all right? You're moving your whole body away. And reposition. Tension in your neck, just release. Straighten that leg out and add the rotation. My hand's sliding a little bit. Now, the contraction of the back, of your upper back, because you're stretching the front, that back has to contract, so watch for tension there as well. One more time for me. If it feels good for you, follow along. Okay. Now this is where we're going to retest and see how that hip joint, if there is an increase in mobility there, and for me there is. I think too, having done this for the last weeks, our brain is engaged now, and it knows what it's looking for. Drop that in, and it feels a lot looser for me, and my glute cheek stays on the floor a lot better, right? And let's try the other side. So let's test. Oh, there's some tightness at the front of my leg. That's probably from our workout on Wednesday, I would say. Good. So here we go. On the side, leg bent up in front. And then we're going to lift, heel to ceiling, and lower. Again, hip joint is rotating in its socket, and we're limbering and loosening, preparing. All right? And then uphold, press out. Again, it's almost as if we're trying to dislocate that hip. You want to kind of stretch it in a lengthened position that way. Reposition and press out. And one more for me. Up and press out. Good stuff. All right, so we're going to do the same thing, and we're going to rotate that hip joint in another direction, right? So with the leg bent out in front, you're going to lift and lower. Not a lot of range here. This rotation doesn't have much give, all right? And you might experience some tension in that area. Up and down. Good. And then the same thing with your knee. You're just going to rotate that hip joint up at the knee. And this time we're going to keep it up, and we're going to push it out and drive it back in, all the while focusing in on the hip joint and the ball and socket. Press out. Good. Here comes our hamstring stretch. Now that everything should be loosened or awakened, we're going to grasp behind the knee. We're going to create tension by pressing that leg in and the hands against it. Muscle is contracted and stretch. Point and flex. Roll and rotate. Beautiful. Reposition. I'm going to take it again. I should be able to go a little further each time, and that's what I'm keeping track of. Drive it, pull it, point, Flex, roll, rotate. And maybe one more. Drive it in. Really get a good grasp on that. Create the tension and pull it. Nice. Just a good shake. Drop it in front. Hand on the bottom, grasps, fixed point, and we're going to stretch away from that. This side is a lot tighter for me. I'm just going to leave it there and let it relax a little bit and release. Straighten out that knee. Feel the stretch. Mine is coming at the back of the knee in those tendons and ligaments there. And one more. Ooh, gotta breathe through this one. All right, we'll see how this rotation goes. Actually, with this one, I could probably use the strap. And I'm gonna keep it in that position, but just out a little further than my hand maybe could reach to, and then stretch. There we go. That's a little bit better. And I'm just working with this leg and its limitations, okay? I'm not trying to match the two sides up because I don't think it works that way. Here comes that rotation. So I'm going to straighten that leg out to a full hamstring stretch. Hand on my chest. I'm going to rotate my body away. Now that feels good. Funny that the rotation is better on this side than the other side. Interesting. Last one here, stretch and rotate. Good job. And release. Let's just check the internal rotation on that hip joint, and oh, it just feels really nice. Beautiful. All right. Last week, I forget what exercise, I think probably the shark or no, we're going to do the shark today. I think we did the, I don't know, we did a couple other stretches for shoulders last week, and this week we're going to go back to the shark. Thank you. Beautiful. Here we go. So we're going to end up standing upright for this one too. So just prepare. If you want to just stay here, we're going to cross those palms together. Hands are going to create the tension. Tension is going to come upper back, and then we're going to pull into our stretch across the body, holding that tension on. Wow, I'm getting so much more range on this now. Nice. And pull across the body. And one more. Press. Okay, if you need to come into a rest. Now, I'll tell you when I first started, and this years ago, I'll never forget, because the discomfort and the inability to even cross my hands. So I basically just stayed here and did a pull until that joint and the tendons and the ligaments, all the connective tissue, kind of eased into my expectations. You got to ease into this. So if you are not here, just slow, steady, consistent practice. All right. So now we're going to go into that diagonal. Oh no, let's elongate. Okay. So we're going to take it out there, away from your body, and then lengthen it to the opposite wall and then back in. And add the resistance, add the tension, and elongate. And I'm going to do one more here. Nice. If you need to rest and relax and release, go ahead. I'm keeping all of the stretches on one side, which is kind of intense. Usually you can go back and forth, okay? But once you're to a point where that joint can take a little more work, we can hold it all on one side. So I'm here, and then I'm going to go in a diagonal up and pull down. Now, just for the sake of a good flow, let's take it to the other side before we stand up and do those reaching to the floor. So, other side, creating the tension, and I'm going to pull that across. Release, tension, contract, and across your body. Maybe one more. Ease off if you need to. Little sweat going on here. This is elongating away from my body. So creating that tension and driving it out in front. And back in. Tension and reach. And one more. Tension and reach. Nice. All right, so this is our diagonal. We're going to hit it and pull down and up. This side doesn't diagonal as much as the other side. Tension and pull. Beautiful. All right, so this is where we're gonna be up on our feet, and we're gonna do. Let's go back to the other side. All right. So that was here, and I am going to bend forward, and what I want to do is lengthen away and try and reach the floor, and pull back in, and elongate, reaching the floor, and pull back. And this time, elongate, and then you want to sway from side to side. This is intense. Rest if you need. Reposition. This time you're going to bend those knees so that you touch the floor, and you're going to move away. And pull yourself closer. Create the tension. Here's your stretch. Moving away. And I'm going to do one more. Beautiful. Release. Other side. In a sec. So, crossing those hands, creating tension by pushing your palms into one another, leaning forward and reach out towards the floor, and in, reset, focus, reach, and release. Pull it back into your body one more time. From this one, we're going into the sway. Try and make it mostly your arms, but your body does want to follow a little bit. Good. And then we're going to drop our knees, fingertips to the floor. Keep them in contact with the floor as you move your body away. And you can bring extend your knees a little bit to pull your body away. And one more. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. And, oh. Well, that puts some color into our cheeks. We're going lower body, and then I think we'll finish up with maybe the gorilla. I don't know. See what's next. Oh yeah, the basic twist in the gorilla. All right, so this glute series. Drop in. Now, creating tension in this muscle group, back through the glutes, and you're gonna drop and push up. But the push-up is coming from this leg pushing into the floor, okay? That's what's creating the movement. My hands are basically keeping me balanced, right? 3 to 5. You can move through the fully supported ones a little more quickly if you've got good balance. And we're gonna take it down with one hand on one side. Again, this just keeping my balance. And I'm going to change sides. find that these stretches, when you add the resistance, are challenging, and they're almost forcing your body to stretch in balanced positions, and there's a good chance that your body has imbalances and it'll fight it, so it'll create tension and knots, and you might experience more discomfort before you feel more flexible. So you've got to go at your own pace. You've got to listen to your body. You've got to really stay with it. Gently, wisely, no hands. And then we're just, I got to ease off on that contraction when I'm stretching, okay? There. And then we're just going to rotate a little bit through this. And I'm going to rotate to the other side. Nice. Now, we're going to stay on this side for the knee bent at 90-degree angle, all right? This one might be, oh, it is. For me, anyways, it's a lot more difficult. Oftentimes I have to leave that leg bent at the back, but in my future vision, I see that straightened out, and I see myself very square and really flexible. I visualize it, I see it. Same thing with the push-ups, but again, it's this leg pushing into the floor and creating tension so we can stretch. Good. Three, I'm gonna go 4, and then I'm gonna rotate away, and then I'm going to go right there. Hand is going to extend. This is your rotation across your body. You want to drive the heel of the hand into the floor to create the tension, and then drop. Maybe walk it out a little further, create the tension, and drop. Okay. Whoa. That feels very challenging for me, but I am in new positions. I'm in lengthened positions that I was at the very beginning. So as you keep progressing and moving further, the discomfort, it feels like you're not gaining anything. It still feels bad, but you're in new positions, right? Whoa. Other side. Pigeon pose. Good. And then your push-ups. This leg contracted, pressing into the floor. Hands are support and balance only. Create the tension. That's the key. And then one hand, less support, more work for that leg to contract. Whoops. This side is not so stable. Oh, lack. You can't stay here. One. And change sides. Whoops. Downward dog. And then if you're at this point, I don't know how well I'm going to do on this side with no support. We'll see. Mac is holding me up a little bit. And let's add that rotation for the torso. Ow, that really hurt. And good. Alrighty. I will just not bother the dog. 90-degree angle out front. See how this one goes. There we go. Stabilize with your hands. Drive through the upper leg, glute. Oh, wow. Rotating my torso away and further stretching through that same area. Go back. No. Rotation, extending that arm out to the side, driving the heel of your hand in, creating tension, and drop. Getting a contraction here, tight contraction. Extend out, drive the heel of your hand in, and drop. Good stuff. So we're going to finish up. Yeah, we're going to finish up right here. What time is it? Perfect. We usually start with this basic rotation, but let's finish up with it. Reaching up, turning, and drop. And reach up tall, rotate over and drop. Other side. Oh, I'm finding knots all over the place. See, as one muscle group stretches and lengthens, and the other muscle group on the other side has to shorten and contract. And sometimes it's more of a contraction than you expect, which turns into a knot. Good job. Alrighty, you guys, I'm going to leave you with that. For those of you that are just joining us, we're repeating the stretches week by week, and I'm trying to add one or two in each week so that we have a nice repertoire. Going back to the same stretches allows your brain to just understand, oh, here's the movement she wants to do. This is the result she wants to get. And so I believe that it's beneficial to repeat the same movements over and over, and then just add one or two in as the weeks go by. All right, so that's my rationale. Anyways, have a fantastic Sunday. I think it's supposed to rain, so whatever that means for you, have a good one. I'll have the boards up later today, and we will be chest again tomorrow, right? Thanks, you guys. Have a great day.